All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this Boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it's got BSS for its local search or its city search on Google. So we're here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, pinned profile, pinned post, whatever. That's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're bringing in people from the entire intent ladder, highest intent on the left to lowest intent on the right, boudoir photographer business is rising. And if we're not doing that, boudoir photographer business is falling. Pretty simple. Over on the left here, we talk about BSS. So the videos here, it's the highest intent peeps. People search for boudoir photo shoots on Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So highest intent search, closest to the money. We want to dominate that first. And over at the end, BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So that's some other profiles out there in the universe. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're hurting, we're screwed. Because I mean, we're on page 2 or 3 or somewhere later. And we also know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They page 1 only, they stay on page 1. So this is the bulk of people searching. The bulk of searchers, approximately 80% of all searches. So we actually want to cater this approximately 80% bulk. This is the bulk of the market. We don't care about the 20% that go to page 10. We don't care. Let's be the best in the universe at capturing these 80% that stay on page 1. So 0 slots, bad. 1 slot is bad because then, dude, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're, if we got 9 other competing boudoir photographers on our, on page 1, okay, they got 9, buyers are just clicking down, going down every, clicking every link open on, sending a message to every single person, getting a quote from everyone. And we're not standing out at all. They probably don't even reckon, they don't even remember our name. They're just clicking through all 10, us and 9 other competing boudoir photographers. So this is a diagnosis. It's the most common diagnosis actually I've seen with across all boudoir photography businesses. Also, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's not normal to have that small number of slots on Google. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. These 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody knows about. So market saturation, obviously, more boudoir photographers entering the market seemingly every week. Every time anyone gets a new iPhone, they're sending out their Google My Business profile saying they now shoot boudoir, or they're, saying, they got their website, they're competing for page 1, maybe even giving on page 1, and kicking us off, or they're getting a new camera, and now they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they also shoot boudoir. So more and more boudoir photographers are always entering the market. That's never going to change. And so that's market saturation. Everyone's used to that. COVID had a massive blast to that. People needed to earn income, couldn't work, and now actually needed to became boudoir photographers. So massive glut of boudoir photographers entered the market. The one that almost nobody knows about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So page 1 equality is basically assuming, everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 of Google. More photographers come in, they might kick me off page 1. Now I got 1 slot on page 2, but that's how it is. It is what it is. It is how it is. And hopefully maybe I get back, someone leaves, someone shuts off their website, I go back to page 1, or maybe I go on to page 3 eventually. And it's just kind of something people accepted, but this is a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And so I feel like most people there's never been a word for this, the false belief, for page 1 equality. People just there's never been a word to describe it. So I feel like people haven't really thought about whether they believe in it yes or believe in it no. But people's actions have told me it seems like people just have accepted it, right? Because they've never, I don't know, had explicitly a word to say, oh, do I believe in that or not? So, and also this false belief of page one equality has been the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses that I have ever seen. People get relegated to page two, they disappear. They're, pretty quickly after their business disappears because referrals only last for so long. You can only spend so much ad money. CAC, customer acquisition cost, always goes up over time. It's the new people that have never heard about us yet that always, always, always sustain a business. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Dude, because if we're from page two, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never hit in page two. So we're disappearing, and pretty fast after that, our business will be disappearing as well from existence. And if we got one slot on page one, well, that's the scariest number on page one because we are one person could kick us off to page two if they take our slot. And also, we look the same as the other nine. If there's other 9 slots or 9 boudoir photographers, we look the same. Nothing special. You know, they're clicking through all the links, contacting everyone, price shopping everyone. And so it's like 0 or 1, most likely disappearing for 0 1 both, you know, local and city search. So we got our universe building up here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But luckily, BSS, boudoir search sameness, is treated with social search saturation. It's our SQs methodology. It's our proprietary solution we've created. And been mastering it, building it over about the last 7 months. And ready to bring it to market. And with SQs methodology, we can actually we can take it as many page one Google slots as we actually want for whichever keywords we want. Instead of Google PPC, you know, you get 1 extra text ad. Okay, who cares? Dude, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic slots and up, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this SQs methodology, it's social search saturation. So we saturate social search first. And then once we saturate social search, Google recognizes that and it flows to us saturating page one of Google search. So page one Google search is actually the byproduct of saturating social search. And this is actually the only, dude, this is the only thing I've seen that actually is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So imagine we're in Topeka, Kansas, where one boudoir photographer we got. There's 1 million total boudoir photographers competing in this city. Everyone's got their own website. Everyone's ranking or trying to rank page one on Google. But we crank SQs methodology to the max. When we crank SQs methodology to the max, let's say we saturate social search, you know, the first 300 slots for the highest intent keywords across all social platforms. And also, as a result, we capture the first 300 slots organic per Google. Well, there's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that's literally the first 30 pages that we saturate. So when anyone that ever look for a boudoir photographer in our city, anywhere they look, they search on social or they search on Google, we're basically the only one that they can find, even though there are literally 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And so whose business is growing? Ours, even though our market saturation has never been higher. And our business has never been growing faster because we capture so much, whatever, search intent or so many search slots. And so again, this is the only solution that I've seen that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. Obviously, more market saturation, the more you got to crank the SQs methodology. But at least we finally got something. Finally got something that gives us some hope. Now, once our BSS is treated with SQs methodology, we have page one visibility. So we kind of escape market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, and we achieve page one visibility. Now, a bonus of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So yeah, dude, every new slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking a boudoir photographer out of there, relegating them to page two or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. So that's literally 80%, the bulk of the market. It's never going to see them on Google. And same if we do, across all social search platforms. So this is a bonus of doing using the SQs methodology, kind of reducing the amount of boudoir photographers we're being price shopped against, or buyers even know exist. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we're no longer at 0 slots on page 1 or 1 slot on page 1. Technically, we can do it with two slots on page 1, but we won't get to the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search and city search. Now, with Boudoir search visibility, if we can get to 3, that's kind of our big hump we want to get over, because we're definitely going to stand out more than all the other Boudoir photographers that have 1 slot on page 1 on Google. And there'll be times when another Boudoir photographer will have 2 slots on Google, page 1 on Google. But if we got 3, I mean, we're dwarfing everyone. So we finally achieved page, it activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And a Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility is a visible Boudoir photographer. So this is our universe. We got, disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. That's fine. We got a solution now. S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page 1 visibility. So we overcome market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. To achieve page 1 visibility, become visible Boudoir photographers with Boudoir search visibility. So I'm going to look at me using a S-cubed methodology here. I want to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. And come down to organic. Got Instagram slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. And again, this is the only solution I've ever seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation. And it has its own, has its own momentum to it. Where ads, if you stop spending to them, momentum instantly drops to 0. That's on Google and on Facebook. And onto the main event here. I'm gonna check out this Boudoir photography business. Gonna see if their local search or city search, if they got BSS for either of them or both of them or what. So going to Haymarket, Virginia. Okay. Haymarket, Virginia. No, we're at DMV right there. Here's Haymarket. All right, let's see what we got here. So, all right, can't generate AI overview right now. All right, so we got 1. We got 2. We got 2. We got 3. All right. All right, we got 3. Nice. So good. So we do not have ESS, and we hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. All right, perfect for a local search. That's good. Good start. Let's look at DMV. All right. See how many we got here. Let's see. Not seeing us at all. All right, so we are 0 out of slots, page 1 on Google for city search. So we do have BSS for city search, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 for Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done your local search or city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you're seeing for any of those, local or city or any of the keywords, you got BSS, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, and you actually, you're looking at all the highest intent keywords, and you're seeing that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You're seeing Google actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google search as we want. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the only solution forward, the only solution to have enough links where there's enough flow through to Google to actually put us on page 1. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, market becomes more saturated. And you're also seeing that you're looking ahead to AI. And while you like the initial benefits, S-cubed methodology, more links, page 1 Google search, more, basically more kicking other boudoir photographers off page 1. Google search is actually your favorite. You're competing with boudoir photographers. But you're looking at AI taking people's jobs right now. You know it's going to get better. So it's simply going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. And as a result, you're actually going to, a new flood of boudoir photographers is going to be entering the marketplace. So you actually realize you not only need the links, dude, you actually need to fortify your position on page 1 literally like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's below sea level. You gotta like have so many links on page one, so many links Google wants to rank for you on page one that there's not enough slots, so they relegate you to start filling up pages 2, 3, and 4 to basically guarantee no other competing boudoir photographer currently can essentially ever rank on page one, nor any any future competing boudoir photographer who comes into the marketplace because they took their job basically ever has a chance to rank on page one either. So you want to prevent both those scenarios. And you're seeing again, SQ methodology is the only solution that can give that many links to super fortify you. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And you do not, and you know you need these things in order to become, on your path to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're liking the future benefits of SQ methodology because you understand it well. Basically building these invisible thematic keyword columns. Having in the back end, back in cyberspace, these columns that are plugged in to the kind of this, this cloud of you, your business name, your brands, your social handles, your website, everything kind of about your business, plugging in these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of building up this back-end AI keyword mindshare that's invisible. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology and build this up, we're actually increasing the probability we're going to show up here at the top of AI overview for search in our city. And as a result, this is the highest, the highest probability, the most premium placement, the highest tier placement we got here, and cannot pay for it. It's all organic. And SQ methodology, highest probability of giving us this. And also, that same probability recommended here, increase in probability that we show up in all the AI search apps. So, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We're increasing the probability we show up in all of these. And this is important because AI search getting bigger every single day. Every single day, every single day, every single day. And standard Google search decreasing every single day. And last time I did an AI search for boudoir photographer in a city, I used ChatGPT. It recommended me 3. I actually then went to do a manual search in that city with Google standard search and searching on Facebook. And dude, I found like 60. It's like, man, we got to find any way to get, recommended these AI searches if there's only 3 slots available, because I mean that's so many eyeballs for us. And again, SQ methodology is the only strategy that is given these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of building it up in the back end. So you're liking these feature benefits. You're also liking the feature benefit of SQ methodology can help build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all the other standard methods out there. You also understand and like that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. And as a result, you're actually able to get all these benefits and kick your competitors off and prevent them from using these benefits at all. And you're basically able to kind of build up a kind of a moat, kind of a large gap with the back-end AI keyword mindshare that we're going to be doing to be recommended these AI apps higher and higher and higher probability out into the future. And building up a massive gap to where basically your competitors, the gap could be big enough where they can never catch you. So that's why you decided to be first mover advantage in your city, can hop on this first. As you understand the converse, if one of your boudoir photographers competitors actually signed up to use this first, then you'd be locked out of this. They'd be getting all these slots page one Google search, kicking you off page one Google search, and then be relegated to page 2 or deeper. You would be building up that massive AI mindshare for them and their brand, and you'd be stuck in the dust. We're building up a massive gap, larger and larger every single day against you to be recommended AI search. And as a result, in order for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own, which means you'd actually have to drive it first in the first place. And since you've never derived it before, you'd actually have no idea if you've derived it correctly, yes or no. But then you'd have to execute equal to us every single day. And even if you did all that, well, all you've done is you're maintaining the gap that me and your competitor already have ahead of you. So to close on that gap, you'd actually have to increase your effort and do like 2 to 3x what we do every single day to close that gap. But you're not even confident you've derived the technology, the strategy correctly in the first place. So probably wouldn't even feel confident putting in that much time and effort to do all these things. And like, dude, who's even got 80 hours to do all this stuff? So you're like, yeah, you've decided, yeah, you're simply gonna be the first mover here and not wait because this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when we do open the hospital back up again for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.